I've always said that that cloud gaming is absolutely the future, right? We've had some flops from Google and some other companies in the past, but really what's going to happen in the future, in my mind, it's like 100% thing, right? And but it's not that we're going to be running games on the cell phone chips that are in these mobile headsets. It's that eventually when internet is good enough and encompass, enough people out there have decent internet, we will be rendering everything in the cloud and beaming it over to our headsets, and our headsets will just be like dummy machines, right? Kind of like businesses are doing now with their desktops, with their servers. Everything is going to the cloud, and I believe this absolutely includes virtual reality because we want the most high fidelity, beautiful, in-depth, badass games that we can get. Right.
So. And I mean, I think in the description, I say something along the lines of that, like everyone in VR right now, for all intents and purposes, is on a Quest 2, and these are people who have picked up headsets because they don't have PCs or, I guess every now and then a gaming PC owner picks up a Quest 2 and uses it standalone and with Link or whatever. But for the most part, most Quest owners out there just own a Quest. And anyone who has access to PCVR knows that there's like an entire universe of amazing VR experience, the best VR experiences that you can have on PCVR. So this, I think, is coming at a really good time because there's so many Quest 2s out there. And this, I think, is at a time where people might start to say, okay, yeah, this is great, but what's next, or what else can I do? Or, what's I want it to look better. I want it to do this. I want it to do that. And maybe, just maybe, Plutosphere can achieve that for these people.
Yeah, that's really what we're hoping. And, thinking about the industry, I mean, Skeeva, I think we're very much aligned in terms of where the future is. Like when we think forward, the Quest is slimmer, lighter, cheaper than pretty much any other headset that's been out to date, and obviously there's a lot of subsidization happening to make it even cheaper, but ultimately we know that we want to get wearables to be lightweight so you could wear them all the time, so like the glasses that are on your head. And so thinking about that, like that pressure to make them even smaller, lighter, cheaper, and especially thermals, dealing with sticking a battery pack against your face, that's been one of the biggest hurdles for a lot of, especially AR headsets, is like, how do you cram all that compute right against someone's temple? Like, it's really hard to put something here that's comfortable. And so the only way to really do that in the near term is to offload a lot of that compute, to offload that rendering, and having that happen somewhere else.
And I think you're absolutely right. Like, I have brought this up a few times, but I had my mind blown by a pair of VR glasses at CES 2020. They were the Pico glasses, and they were plugged into a cell phone, but it was still VR in glasses, and I was blown away. I was like, oh my God, these are so lightweight. They were so comfortable, and it looked really good. I mean, it was still a phone. I had its obvious, early rendition kind of drawbacks or whatever, but it gave me a glimpse into the future, and I was like, I cannot wait till I'm not wearing a brick on my face.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what else gave me a glimpse into the future was actually trying Plutosphere. So I was lucky enough to be able to participate in demoing Plutosphere to a whole bunch of people. I work with Vertigo Games and Springboard VR, right? And we used Springboard's platform to kind of manage the time and the titles that were being demoed on Plutosphere, and it was absolutely great. And I get to go in there and I get to play a bunch of stuff and actually see what this is all about, because I'm like, I was like a lot of people out there, on Twitter, I saw people saying, well, cloud streaming, what about latency? What about this? What about that? And I was kind of skeptical, right? I mean, I think most people are skeptical when they hear like, you're going to render a 90 frame a second game in high fidelity and stream it to my headset from like another state or something, right? I mean, that sounds pretty wild, right? And then I tried it and I was like, are you serious right now? This is pretty amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. Like it was really something else, man. It blew my mind. It really did.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I mean, we're at the very beginning of, it's the worst it's ever going to be, right? So not everybody is as close as they can or should be to one of these, one of the data centers. So we're very much looking at how to get this closer to people through edge computing. So getting those computers out of big data centers and into smaller, smaller units that are, instead of, a half state away, or, as I said, a state away, they're actually down the block, or they're, a mile away. So that's definitely one huge thing that's going to change how all of this is going to happen. And then there's a lot of other pieces that are sort of the underlying technology layers around reprojection and how we handle the frames, and that it's not like we're just taking pixels and just streaming them to your eyeballs. There's, as things go on, there's going to be more things like depth data and more metadata that's being transferred. So it's actually it's becoming a distributed computing system. So on that pathway even further, there's hybrid rendering, where not all of it's happening on the cloud or edge, but some of it's happening locally. So like right now, everything's kind of on up in the cloud. But in the near future, things like your controllers or hands or things that are close to you might be rendering on the local device, and then the rest of the world is actually being rendered in the cloud.